Chapter 973. The reason why Ian was rejecting Hilton's request was simply because he was putting on an act and trying to play hard to get. He was the investment director of a scam fund, just like those thunderous P2P. His job was to do everything within his ability to try to fool those who did not understand this so they would invest all of their money in this so-called fund. In fact, none of these funds would possibly make them any money. As long as anyone invested in the fund, they were doomed to lose all their money and they would not even be able to get back a single penny. When Alex's mother-in-law, Elaine, was previously defrauded of her investment, she had also been deceived by this kind of fake funding company. As long as the money had already been entered into their company's account, it would be completely impossible for them to get back their money. However, what Ian was trying to do today was not to get them to invest in his own fund. Instead, he wanted to trick them into giving him all of their money under the pretense that he would be investing their money in the funds on their behalf. After that, he could use their money to save himself first. When Hilton heard this, he felt so anxious that he was about to burst into tears. He was really desperate. He wanted to make more money. He had initially thought that Ian would be able to help him to make more money. However, he really did not expect Ian to say that he had too little capital. Therefore, he could only plead, "Brother Ian, please help your younger brother. Otherwise, I really don't know what to do anymore. I've already failed so miserably in my life. You can't do nothing at all and watch my girlfriend leave me just like that." When Ian saw that Hilton had already taken the bait, he continued acting. "Brother, it's not that I don't want to help you. The main point is that your capital really is too small and it isn't easy for me to do anything at all." As he spoke, Ian's eyes suddenly lit up as though he had just thought of something. "By the way, I have a way to help you." Hilton hurriedly asked, "What is the solution?" "Brother Ian, please tell me." Ian hurriedly said, "Well, I know some friends who engage in providing loans online. As long as you can provide your identification card, they'll then be able to loan you a small sum of money. Although you might not be able to borrow much, you would be able to raise a sufficient amount of money if you borrow money from a few platforms. You'd probably be able to borrow about $400,000 to $500,000. If you add it up to the money that you have in your savings, you'll be able to raise at least $600,000. If you put $600,000 into the fund, then you'll definitely be able to double your investment in less than a week." When Hilton heard this, he choked with excitement as he said, "Brother Ian, I will do as you suggest then. Could you please introduce me to some of the online creditors?" Ian smiled before he said, "I will introduce you to some online lending platforms later." Hilton replied excitedly, "Brother Ian, I really don't know how else to thank you. You really are my benefactor and my parent on this earth." He was an orphan and he was illiterate because he had never attended school. He had finally found a girlfriend and they were already talking about getting married. However, his future mother-in-law refused to let him go. He was already desperate. Therefore, he really had no choice but to pin all of his hopes on Ian. Ian had already spotted Hilton's mentality from the start, and that was the reason why he was prepared to cheat a big sum of money out of him. First, he was going to trick him into borrowing a few $100,000. After that, he would trick Hilton into giving him the entire sum of money, including his own savings. That way, he would be able to solve the $600,000 funding gap for himself. If he could trick two such persons today, he would basically be able to resolve his own problem. As for Hilton, Ian did not care whether he would be chased to death or hunted down by these major online loan platforms in the future. That had nothing to do with him at all. After all, who had asked him to be so foolish? He did not deserve to be pitied. At this time, a few of their friends from the orphanage heard that Ian could easily double a $600,000 in just 1 week, and they could not stop themselves from thinking about it. Someone asked, "Brother Ian, can you include me in this investment too?" Ian replied seriously, "As long as you can raise enough funds, I can definitely help you to invest your money in the funds." However, if you don't have enough money, then you should do the same as Hilton and borrow some money from the online loan platforms first. You can then return the money for your loan after you make a huge profit. You're simply borrowing money to make a big profit.